What's up, guys? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Also, make sure you follow us all over social media so you don't miss any of our content or show announcements. With LeBron James potentially entering the final year with the Lakers next season, how do you envision the Lakers' identity evolving? Not just in terms of play style, but also in terms of leadership and marketing once LeBron eventually steps away. I just imagine the season-to-season urgency shifting. Because LeBron was so old, and he's entering into his 23rd season, but even when he was in his 19th, 20th season, there was this feeling that's this is going to end soon, right? He's going to slow down soon, right? None of us predicted that in year 22 he'd definitively still be one of the 10 best players in the NBA. That was I think even the most strident LeBron fans would be like, this is kind of crazy, right? It was difficult to predict, but the perception as though there was this very tight window to work with, and obviously with a player that has the pedigree that LeBron has and all the pressure and expectation that comes with that, it just felt like every year was the last chance, right? I've said it on the show. Every time that they would talk about stuff, I'd be like, oh, you're going to wait? So you want to figure it out the year that LeBron turns 40 in the playoff run? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Why don't we try to be more aggressive in the short term, right? That was the cloud that was hanging over the team all the time. It just felt like the finish line could appear at any time. It was like you're driving on a foggy road and you're going to run into a wall at any time and you don't know where it is. And though we haven't hit the wall yet and we're just still driving through the fog, but it just felt like that wall was coming at any minute, and it just made it difficult, right? And with Luka being 26 years old, it makes it so that it's less foggy and you're pretty sure you're not going to run into a wall anytime soon. And so as a result of that, there's much more of a long-term approach to everything. There, you can see now it being a situation where there's no urgency to make everything happen in this particular season. Now, all of a sudden, all your asset moves need to be moved for all the moves in which you include assets need to be geared around getting assets in return that are not diminishing assets, that are not declining or depreciating assets, right? If you're going to move a draft pick, you want to get a player back in their mid to late 20s that you can count on being good for at least 5 years, right? That you could see playing alongside Luka for a long time. The entire identity of the team has shifted because of that. You don't make a move for Jake LaRavia and let Dorian Finney-Smith walk if LeBron is 40 and Anthony Davis is on the roster and you feel like you're about to run into the wall at any point. You're trying to maximize that talent. By the way, they made the Dorian Finney-Smith trade before they knew Luka Doncic was coming. It's just a very, very different situation. Now the Lakers can actually invest in long-term basketball culture and try to invest in some continuity. I think LeBron is the best player to ever touch a basketball, but he just applied a lot of pressure to the situation, and that pressure will be relieved when he's out of the picture. You mentioned rooting for LeBron James several times over the years. With his retirement likely approaching, who do you see stepping into that role for you and why? Asking as a fellow LeBron fan. Love the show. The depth of analysis and passion for the game really stand out. Thank you so much for the kind words and for supporting the show. I don't think that I'll ever have a sentimental attachment to a player the way I did with LeBron ever again. I've told this story before, but I grew up in a family that was very baseball and football focused. Both my brothers played college football. It was much more of at home at night, we'd have the Arizona Diamondbacks on TV. We were always watching NFL games on the weekend. It just was not a basketball household. And I actually just kind of organically ran into Cleveland Cavaliers games in the 2006, 2007 era. And, as a 15-year-old kid, that was how I fell in love with basketball. So LeBron for me is attached to my love of the game because he was the guy that got me to fall in love with the game. And so that will lead to a certain amount of sentimental attachment for me that I'll never have for another player. Now I'm a grown-ass man, and this is what I do for a living. And I was actually scrolling through just literally the list of all the leading scorers in the NBA. And I was like, is there another player that I could see myself liking? And it's just not. It's just nowhere even close to that because it's just not the same type of emotional experience it was for me when I was 15 years old, right? But obviously I watch basketball, and there are players that I really like and players that I don't like as much. The guys that I would say are my three favorite players after LeBron retires are Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, and Anthony Edwards. Nikola Jokic and Steph, I just think the way that they play offensive basketball is straight up beautiful. Even as big of a LeBron fan as I am, I find Jokic and Steph to play a more aesthetically appealing style of offensive basketball. And I just really enjoy watching them play. I just think it's really fun to watch. I was thinking about this with Tyrese Halliburton too. Like, you want to know why the Pacers were so much fun to watch? You want to know why the Pacers are such a rating draw, why the Warriors are such a ratings draw, why the Nuggets have such a powerful core of fans despite being in a small market? It's because when you turn on the TV and you watch the Denver Nuggets play basketball, and you watch the Indiana Pacers play basketball, and you watch the Golden State Warriors play basketball, it's very fun to watch because there's so much ball and player movement. Everyone's involved and invested. It's just a beautiful brand of basketball, right? And Anthony Edwards, to me, it just kind of ties into the old school, two guard that all of us have always loved. He brings the vertical element that a lot of the two guards in the league don't bring right now. He brings the shit talky attitude element that a lot of guys in the league don't bring right now. Ant is just likable in that sense. But I just love basketball. So even with the players that I don't particularly like, I can find parts of their game that I really like. Like guys like Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are two high-volume offensive players at the top of the league that over the years I haven't liked watching them as much. And even with them, it's like there are elements to ball handling with Luka that I personally apply and practice in my game because I think it's beautiful ball handling and it's beautiful footwork. And similar with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. For both of those guys, it's like contact dribbling. There's a step back move that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander uses that I have tried to add to my game because I think it's such a useful move. It's kind of like an off the dribble step back where you kind of get in that left hand high hesitation and just throw a quick like kind of jab step in and out dribble to get that separation for that pull up three. Like there are things that I will find in players' games that I really like, even if I don't necessarily like that player, right?